and welcome back to the Preppy Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being here and listening today. I have a great interview. It is with Stephanie. She's the founder of Cliff Soph Designs. If you love accessories, then I think you will absolutely love this interview. She makes a beautiful handcrafted handbags with a lot of fabrics that normally you'd find in interior design, as that's her background. And there's a special appearance from her rooster friend that you guys will hear and learn all about the story of how she rescued him. So it's just such a great episode. You guys know I love hearing about different entrepreneurship journeys, about new brands, and this is a great one that you guys will love to discover too. But before we get into the episode, I want to let you guys know that I just uploaded a lot of new products to Shop Preppy, thepreppypodcast.com. There is some new pieces from Emily McCarthy, some great styles for spring that are bright and colorful and of course preppy. So that's very exciting. And also a reminder that if you were not in the Charlotte area and missed the Dillard's live panel, then you can go back now and listen to the podcast episode here, wherever you get your podcast, or watch it on YouTube. I've been trying to upload more videos and interviews on the YouTube channel. So definitely head over there if you like listening to podcasts on a YouTube form as well. All right, without further ado, let's get into this week's episode. All right, so welcome to the Preppy Podcast. Let everyone know who you are, where you live, and what you do.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on. So my name is Stephanie Erickson, and I am the founder of Cliff Soph Design, which is a handbag company, and I live in Orange, Connecticut.
Excellent. And we have a little friend that we hear in the background, which I know from following you on Instagram, you have a rooster. So before we get into, your story, I kind of want to hear about him for a second.
So his name is Frank, and he is actually the head of marketing for Cliff Soph Design. It's a family business. And so I actually found him on the side of the road in 2021. So, and we lived in Milford, Connecticut, which is like a beach community. So it's not normal to see farm animals like livestock running around. And so it took me about 3 days. I would go visit him like 3 to 4 times a day. I finally caught him. And then I tried to find him a home and it just didn't work out. Mm-hmm. And they're actually like, we're not allowed to have roosters in Milford, but our neighbors are like, it's cool. That's fine. We built him an amazing coop, like Martha Stewart worthy. I mean, my husband get out there and learn how to do it. Yeah. And then winter came and he came inside and he just never left. So he lives a very pampered life.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So he's very friendly now, like once you caught him. And
yes, super friendly. And there's a lot to learn about chickens, especially roosters. So we don't have human children. So I joke that like the Facebook rooster pages are my mom pages. So I learned a lot. And I actually like had to learn a lot of patience too, because he could be a little naughty.
Yeah, that's so fun. I really want to get chickens, and I have 2 dogs. So I was like, I first have to know about this rooster.
You should totally get chickens. They're so smart, and and hens are probably just so nice, right? Like Frank has his moments. Like he's like I was telling you before, he's very opinionated about fashion. So so he doesn't like certain things that I wear, and will really go after me. But other than that, he's a good boy.
I love that. So let's start then off with, tell me a little bit about you as a child. Were you someone that, always had a creative side or an entrepreneurial side, or maybe even love for animals? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I'm for sure I was creative. I was definitely creative. I wouldn't say I was an entrepreneur at all, but definitely creative. So we always like made ornaments when we were younger. Any of those baking things where you'd make a glass, I don't know, it wasn't really glass, but you'd paint it and you put it in the oven and you bake like these really cute little designs. And then definitely like, I remember when I was thinking about this, when I was thinking about what to say, and back in, I don't know when it was, maybe grade school. And it's when Aladdin came out. I actually made like a huge genie on my jeans with puffy paint. And I thought it was like the next best thing to sliced bread. And so yes, I've always been creative. And then I'm a huge animal lover. And so honestly, like my whole family is. So, animals are our cats, which the company's named after Cliff and Sophie. Cliff actually passed away in January, so
Oh,
it's been a pretty tough time.
yeah.
But they're basically like royalty, right? Like we bow down to them.
Yeah.
Whatever they want, they get, Frank included.
Yes. Oh, I love that. So tell me about when it came time for college then, where and what did you end up studying? Was it, something more creative or something more on the business side?
No, it was all business. So I went to a state school in Connecticut. It's a small state school called Southern Connecticut State University, and I studied economics. So that was my undergrad, and then I actually went to grad school and I got my MBA on concentrating in accounting.
Okay.
But in between then, I worked as a merchandiser for Nike Golf.
Oh, wow.
So think I've always wanted to do something creative. I just thought like business was safer, and so I feel like I'm a little unique where I have the business like education, right? But like
Yep.
the creative mindset.
Definitely. I mean, I think that's such a great skill to have. I feel like I interview so many entrepreneurs, and when it comes to numbers, they're like, that's the worst part. I hate that part, or, I wish I understood it more. So the fact that you have that accounting background, I think is so great and probably helps you in your business so much.
Yeah, it does. I mean, of course, like I could be better about it, right? But yeah, no, it definitely helps. I think it makes things a lot easier because it's not so much of a hurdle.
Yes, for sure. So tell me a little bit about your career journey then, between, getting your degrees and then starting this company of your own. But what was sort of in between then that sort of led to deciding to be an entrepreneur?
So I'll go back to prior to Nike. I worked at a country club in the pro shop. I was a pro shop manager, but it was just like a nice title. I didn't manage anybody, but but what I did a lot was I did a lot of merchandising,
Mm.
so setting up displays and things like that. And so then I got the job at Nike through that, and I just thought it was so fun. Like driving around, you're young, you're going to all these country clubs and stores, and you're just basically setting up displays, which I thought was so fun. But then the market crashed and in 2008, and so I lost my job, and that's when I went to grad school and got my MBA. And I
Okay.
thought, I really want to do corporate accounting. Yeah, that's what I really, really want to do. No, that was terrible. So
And no
so
one
I
ever. No.
actually, yes, I did get a corporate accounting job after I graduated, and I hated every second of it.
Mm.
So that was very, very short lived, and I ended up getting a job at an interior design firm as their in-house accountant, and that was awesome because that was able to I was able to incorporate like the creative part of like things that I like with
Uh-huh.
what I was trained to do. And then from there, it was fun. We would go through and we would edit fabrics. And I remember like always looking at the fabrics and thinking, this would be a really cute clutch. I just don't know how to sew, but this would be a really great clutch. And so then I ended up like going out on my own. So I have my own bookkeeping business. And most all my clients are interior designers. And then I just figured like I want to do something. I want to do something where I could make more money, give back more. So I didn't talk about that, but that's a big part of my company is to give back
Mhm.
to charity. So I just started it one day, and then so here I am, like 5 years later now.
I love that. It sounds like everything kind of was meant to be in like the roadmap of having the accounting background, and then that led you to working with interior designers in that industry, which then leads to your brand today because so much of it is with fabrics found in interiors, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And honestly, too, like I met so many great people in my life, right, that have helped me along the way. And
Mhm.
without that, like I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me a little bit about then you get this idea that you want to start your own handbag accessory business. What was that moment where you're like, I could do something with these fabrics and, this is kind of what I think it would look like. Tell me about that, sort of aha light bulb moment.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm an accessory queen, right? I
Mm.
have tons of jewelry, and none of it's real except for my diamond ring that I got when, like I got engaged and then married. And so I'm a huge just costume jewelry fan. So initially, honestly, I tried to make earrings. I wanted to make rattan earrings. It was really hard and I
Yeah.
was really bad at it. So that didn't work out. So then, I was thinking, like, okay, what else could I do? I want to do something. And I don't know, it just came to me. And then using the interior designer fabrics is huge, right? Because that's what I know. If I didn't know that part of it, I think finding fabrics would be really difficult. So I know what I like, and then being in the world of still, even though I'm not an interior designer, but doing the bookkeeping, and I'm very interested in design. So a lot of people
Mhm.
who I follow on Instagram are all designers, right? So I thought, okay, well, how can I make something that I like, that I want to use, and that hopefully the general public would like too. And that's just kind of how it started. And so I tried in the beginning of time, I tried sewing, right? I'm terrible at it. So I watched a lot of videos. I bought a I bought a Singer sewing machine. Spent a lot of money on materials and supplies, and I was really awful at it. So I do make some of the bags. I make the hard shell clutches that
Okay.
don't require sewing, but I worked with a really amazing workroom that was local, and I love them so much. And then I eventually transitioned to another person that does the sewing, and she's amazing, and I'm so lucky to have her. So between her and me, that's how the bags get made.
Oh, that's so awesome. And you know what? It makes sense you saying that you wanted to start with jewelry and that you love jewelry so much because your handbags also have almost pieces of jewelry on them, it seems, right?
Yeah, no, they do. They have a brooches, or the way in the beginning of time it was all vintage. Now I have small runs of multiples, but that are all made to order. And yeah, so it's like either brooches or earrings, belt buckles, just anything kind of cool and different.
Mhm.
And I wanted something. I feel like I have a unique style. I don't match, like I don't like matchy matchy. I like something different, something unique. And so I haven't really found a lot of that. Not everything out there is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of things out there look very similar. So I wanted to make something that I would like, and then it seems like people like it too, which is great because I think it's
Yeah,
unique.
that's so amazing. It's like accessories for your accessories.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of statement pieces, right?
Totally. So, for those listening then who aren't familiar with your brand today, can you let them know sort of like price point? You mentioned a few different styles. Give them the lowdown on what the brand is.
Yeah, so we do have a few different styles, right? So we have these smaller they're I call them the hard shell bags. So they're small bags that have a metal frame that I make, right? And those actually start at $450. And then we have other types of bags that are sewn. So we have like front flap clutches, they call them, but they're envelope clutches. Those start at 600. And then we have tote bags, we have small tote bags, big tote bags. We have a top handle bag, which is called the Sophie top handle. And that one is around 1200. So, but the thing about our company is that everything's made to order. So you could totally change the size if you want. You could get something. I like big clutches, but I come to find that not everybody likes big clutches, especially if they're a petite person.
Mhm.
So you could absolutely customize the bag however you want it. So if you want it bigger, you want it smaller, you really like the shape, but you don't like the fabrics, we could absolutely change any of that. If you don't like the embellishment on the front, we could do something different.
That's amazing, especially for a special event like a wedding or a gala. Like, I think it's great to have that flexibility to really customize something then.
Yeah, I think too because they are expensive, right? And I'm not very well known. I haven't been doing this very long. So I think to have a customer take a chance on me, I think they like the fact that they're customizable so that you get something that you really love, right? And then you could talk about how you were a part of the design process.
That's so awesome. So, how have you been getting the word out there and reaching new customers? What's kind of been the best form of marketing?
So honestly, it's just Instagram. I mean, I do have a website. I don't think a lot of people go to it. It's just mostly Instagram. And then it really like just people believing in me. I
Yeah.
just happen to be really lucky to have some influential friends, right? That are a part of like charity groups or events or whatever, like the right circle of people. So I just so pretty much through there. But honestly, like one of the hardest things, and I know you're going to ask me a question about the hardest thing, but it's putting myself out there. I'm terrible at it. I'm such an introvert. I'm
Aw.
like okay on the phone,
Yeah.
but God forbid I actually get in front of somebody, I just clam up. It's so bad.
That's so funny. Well, it's good then having social media because I think it does help introverts because you can market and put yourself out there without necessarily always having to be literally face to face with people. And I
Yeah,
know it's
no,
always
it's
hard.
true.
It's hard being your own advocate. Sometimes I know you're supposed to be, but it's easier said than done, right? It's nerve wracking. You can talk great things about one of your friends or a product that you love. But when it comes to your own, it always feels like you're bragging or you don't want to like flatter yourself too much. So I know that's always a challenge for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and I'm the worst at that, right? Because I try like I value myself to be very humble. So if I say anything about myself, I'm like, oh, okay, who do you think you are? You shouldn't be like boasting, right? And so it's really hard. Or if somebody asks me about myself, I don't even know what to say. I don't know why. I obviously know myself. I'm 43 years old. I know what to say, but I don't know what to say.
That's so funny. So, okay, that sort of answered the hardest part, right? Is there anything you wanted to add to that? And then I'm curious.
Yeah, like cash flow, right? Really hard. And so yeah, when you had Katie Kime on,
Yeah.
right? And she talked about the book, The Intelligent Entrepreneur, and leveraging credit cards, and I that really hit home with me.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really cash flow. It's so hard. I wish I was independently wealthy, and I I haven't done any fundraising. I One of my cousins who is actually she has a hairdressing business in Milford. She did invest in my company, right? And she did it like out of the kindness of her own heart. But trying to like put myself out there to get more investment, I don't even know what to do. So I can't wait to read the book,
Yes, you're
to
gonna
help
have to let me know
myself.
how it is because it's still
Yeah,
on
I
my
definitely will.
list. So then the flip side to that question, of course, is what's your favorite part? What do you love about this business the most?
So I love the design part. I love seeing a bag come to life. So I always have an idea in my head about what I like, what fabrics I want to use, and then what brooch I think is going to look amazing. It never works out, and so then when I actually like see it come to life, I'm like, wow. Like I'm going to try this brooch, which I didn't have in mind in the beginning, and
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. And then and then I look at it, and then I think it's like the next best thing, the sliced bread. I absolutely love it. Then a day later, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And then I look at it a day later again, and I'm like, this is pretty good. I like it. So I think that that's like my favorite part about it.
Yeah, no, it's always fun designing. I feel like that's why so many of us get into being entrepreneurs is it's that doing and that creating that keeps us going, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what would you say is your favorite bag on your website right now? And what silhouette or what bag do you think people are really loving and it's been a good seller?
So my personal favorite, it's the Sophie top handle bag, and it's called the Erica, and it has a Scalamandre zebra print on the front, and then a Schumacher, like an I guess you call it an alligator print on the side, right?
Mhm.
It's an embroidery, and that's my favorite. I mean, I think that bag is absolutely amazing. But you know what is really popular, which I never thought would be, octopus. So everybody is in love with my octopus print
Uh-huh.
and the octopus brooches. They just go crazy over it. So and they love the Sophie top handles, but
Mhm.
mostly the clutches.
Yeah.
But I think once they see the Sophie top handle and they see it in person, they actually love it more because it's more of a versatile bag because you
Mhm.
can take it out wherever, right? It has a strap, and or you could just use the handle if you want, and it's bigger, so you could put more in it.
Definitely. I love that. It has a bamboo handle, correct?
It does,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah, that one's definitely a gorgeous bag, but it's nice that you have the clutches too because then it's a different price point, so it's a good, more entry level price point, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then what I get a lot of feedback is that they have nowhere to go to carry it. Just carry it to dinner, carry it
Yeah.
wherever. It does come with a chain strap too, so take it to the grocery store. Just wear it. Rock it. You don't need to go somewhere special.
Totally. I am a big believer in you can't just hide and save your fancy things and wait for a special event. Like use them in your everyday. Make the most boring Monday extra special and fancy by pulling out your nice china, pulling out your beautiful clutches. Just
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. I'm 100% on board with that. Just do it. It makes you feel good, right? And if you look good, you feel good. So.
1,000%. I'm curious, is there a fabric or a print that you're dying to use for a bag coming up, or that's like on your bucket list of prints?
Yeah, so I'm a huge Schumacher fan, right? So I don't know if there's necessarily one that I absolutely love. I mean, I love them all, right?
Yeah.
So I love them all, but I don't know if there's one in particular that I want, but actually I'm going to rephrase that. There is actually one. So I have a bag that is a Schumacher print, and it's a tiger, and
Okay.
the tiger is on has a pink and I think it's a pink and black or pink and orange stripe on it,
Uh-huh.
and they have the same pattern, but in a green and red stripe with a tiger. It looks very Gucci.
Yeah,
Yes, I would love to use that. I want to put that on my Sophie top handles. I want to put it on clutches, and I want to put it on our tote bags. I want to put it everywhere.
definitely. So if someone, let's say, like for example, I'm redoing our bedroom right now, and let's say if I had a fabric that I'm loving from there, could you then create a bag, with that fabric or buy that
Yeah,
fabric then and
absolutely.
still
I would love
okay.
to do that. I think that is something that I would love like my interior design clients to do for my bookkeeping business is when they finish a project for a client and say it's a really, really awesome statement pattern, right? That they use as their wallpaper, they use as their fabric on window treatments or sofa. I would love for them to have a bag made to give to the client as a gift. I think that would be so neat
Yeah.
because you have something that no one else has. Yeah, I
Mhm.
would love to do that.
That's so smart. That's such a cool idea. What about your dream customer? Who would you love to wear one of your handbags?
I was thinking about this, and honestly, it would be probably like Sandra Bullock or Drew Barrymore.
Oh my
Or
god.
even, and I know this is going to sound really odd, but I love The Rock. So if The Rock wanted, like a man bag, I would love to make it for him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it's so funny, I mean, we're in the midst of well, I guess the end of football season, but so many of the football players have been wearing, like, man bags walking into the locker room, which I think is so funny. So I feel like there's a trend for it right now, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, they're super fashion forward. So
Mhm.
yeah, any of those Eagle guys out there, we're Eagles fans here. We bleed
Right, go
green. So
birds.
yeah.
That's so awesome. And I could totally see, Drew Barrymore or someone like that on the red carpet even, with a beautiful gown and one of your great statement clutches.
Yeah, I think so too. I just, like with her and then Sandra Bullock, they just seem like genuine people, right? Like genuinely nice. And yeah, I would love for them to, yeah, rock my brand, right? And then,
Yeah.
it's like going for good people.
Yeah. I feel like they don't take themselves too seriously either, so they have fun with fashion and could do great, like, mixing prints and colors, and I think that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
So, I'm curious, what is a piece of business advice or like a resource that you rely on? I know you mentioned you just got that book that Katie Kime had talked about on an episode recently, but are there any things that you rely on that you think listeners might find useful? So, newsletter, a group, another book.
So I probably should read more. I know we talked about this before, but yeah, there's this podcast called Acquired, and I heard about it from an advertisement, and I started listening to them, and they're just really smart guys, and they know a lot about business, and they really made a difference in my thought process, because I had a couple episodes about handbag companies. Say, for instance, they had an episode about Hermes, and then they had an episode about LVMH, the umbrella that owns, Louis Vuitton and a
Yeah.
bunch of other companies. So it really made a huge difference, and so I really like them. Also, I read the newspaper, so that's what I do read. So I really like the Wall Street Journal. I get the weekend edition, and so the business section is actually amazing. And this recently they've had a ton about handbags. So that makes so just reading that makes me learn a lot and also
Yeah.
feel a little smarter.
That's cool. I have never heard of that podcast before, so I'm definitely going to write that down.
Yeah,
Because
it's great. Yeah, it's entertaining too. So yeah, it's a really good podcast.
okay, cool. Definitely putting that down. What are some of your favorite brands to pair with your handbags, would you say? Or like, are there other small businesses or brands that you think your bags go really well with, or maybe even stores?
So if it was like fabrics, right? So if we
Mhm,
go to fabrics, yeah, I love Schumacher. I like
mhm,
Lee Joffa,
mhm.
Brunswick and Fee. I love those. I like Tebow, Clarence has. So those all those brands when it comes to fabrics. Um, I guess brand wise, for I don't know. I should have thought about this before, but
Mhm.
anyways, so there is there, and I think you had her on your podcast, Beth Ladd
Yep.
Design. Yeah, so I love her pieces, right? Like I love her earrings. I love everything. Something like that would be fun, right? And I actually met with her. I went to her house a couple years ago, and just met with her because I feel like she really had it like everything a good organized process, right?
Mhm.
Yes, I really like her product. Um,
And I could even see, like, some of her jewelry, a collab with her jewelry on your bags instead of a brooch or,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I bought a pair of like leopard earrings from her, right?
Uh-huh.
They're the cutest. Yeah, so absolutely something like that. My bags would be I love it. It would be so fun.
Yeah, and her background she has a background with interior design too, so I think that's so funny that the crossover there.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, she has a very beautiful house.
Yeah. Any, like, goals of yours that you're really hoping to achieve with this brand? Obviously, we talked about, celebs that you could totally see your bags being worn by, but are you hoping to, do pop-ups, do trunk shows, get into stores through wholesale? What's kind of a goal that you have or something on your wish list? What's
Yeah,
your
so
bucket?
just growing, right? So
Mhm.
yes, absolutely do pop-ups and trunk shows and it would be amazing to get into stores, right? So of course in a perfect world, say Bergdorf's, right? But I need to start smaller and get into smaller stores, little boutiques and whatnot. But yes, absolutely. I would love to just grow the brand. I want it to be a big, hopefully amazing brand, and then we bring brand awareness. So a huge part of our company is to give back to charity,
Yeah.
and because I'm such a big animal lover, of course, like it's animal welfare, but honestly, it's anybody that needs anything. Like I think like my mission in life is to be, to die like knowing that I did something and like
Mhm.
maybe like influence other people to do good too. It'll sort of pay it forward. So that's as a whole, right? Like I want to become a big brand, but I want to become a big brand with a mission, a
With a
purpose.
heart. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit more about the charity aspect of the brand? Like how much do you give? What are some of the charities that you give? I'd love to hear more about that.
So I initially started saying I would give 15%
Mhm.
of the profits from each sale. So I would say like around 10 to 15 right now. I would love to give more, right? Like say eventually it's 20%,
Mhm.
which I know is pretty big, but I think it's for a good purpose. And then when it comes to charities, I follow a lot on Instagram where they're animal sanctuaries,
Okay.
and they take these animals in, and a lot of the times they need medical help, right? And what I love about these animal sanctuaries are they don't skimp on the medical
Mhm.
medical help. They actually bring them to like big time hospitals to get treatment. They just don't kind of like wait and see.
Yeah.
And so I donate often to their medical care, right? If they're running some kind of fundraiser where they're asking for money to there. But honestly, anything, say for example, like the LA fires, right? If I see something and somebody needs something, or if there's something local, there's some kind of local GoFundMe page, just whatever. If like I have it, I want to give it and just help
Yeah.
out.
No, that's so great. I follow a lot of the animal sanctuaries as well, on Instagram, and I do notice that when they see an animal in need, they take them, they bring them to these hospitals right away, and then they're sort of raising money after the fact. And so they already have the bill, of course, and have committed to that, and just go in because their mission is just really to help the animals, right?
Yeah, really. Like there's this one, I I don't know the name off the top of my head,
Yeah.
but they have this chicken named Cadbury, and Cadbury's a rooster. So of course, like there's a little bit of a connection to me
Yeah.
with Frank. But Cadbury was in a barn fire, and they just like probably most people would have put Cadbury down because they thought that that would be the most humane way to go about it. But they actually allowed Cadbury to they treated Cadbury, so multiple doctor's appointments, surgeries, everything. And Cadbury's will to live was just incredible, and seeing that's amazing. And so now he looks like a completely different rooster from when he first started. And you could tell how happy he is, and he just has a very special place in my heart. And there was another one named Robin Hood that got shot with an arrow, and he was walking around some neighborhood in California, and they found him. They helped him. They removed the arrow. They treated him. He had infection after infection, and they got him healthy. And now seeing pictures of Robin Hood, he is the man. He looks amazing. He's so handsome. He's so happy. So yeah, I just like it. What they do is what I want to do. So
Yeah.
I guess one of my goals too is if I do make enough money and I make my business big enough, I'd love to open up my own animal sanctuary
Oh,
or some kind of animal hospital that is just on donation. So this way, somebody who can't afford to have life-saving treatment could still go and get help their child, because I don't want to say like pet because they're your children, and not be turned away.
that's such a great goal to have. Now, I'm curious, since this is the Preppy Podcast, what does preppy mean to you?
So preppy to me is I always think of collegiate, right? Like kind of like Ivy League schools, school, fall, football, right? So sweaters, plaid, and then but then it also is a lot of like bright colors. So if you think of like Lily Pulitzer, really like say Charleston, right? Like pretty prints, bright colors. That's preppy to me, and just happy. And all of that makes me so happy.
Yeah, and no, that's a perfect answer. So, anything you're working on, any sneak peeks you can share with listeners, or new styles, new fabric?
Yeah, so I actually have an exciting opportunity coming up, where there's this magazine in Connecticut called Connecticut Cottages and Gardens, and they're doing a feature in, I think it's in the May issue. They're doing a feature about spring fabrics, textile fabrics, and so they asked me if I could, put my bags in there. So with Patrick Mealy, he's an interior designer in Connecticut, and he selected the fabrics. This sort of a little collaboration, but it's such an honor, and it's going to be a pretty big article. Obviously, not about me, maybe a little bit about me, but my bags will be there.
Yeah.
And then Patrick selecting them and just meeting him. He's such a nice guy, and so it's such a great opportunity to meet him, to work with him, and work with the magazine and DJ Carey, the creative director. It's just pretty cool. It's a big opportunity for me, so I'm excited.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. I'll have to keep a lookout for that. So, my final question is, where can people find you? Let them know where they can shop your bags and follow along.
So I do have a website. It's cliffandsophdesign.com. So it's CLIFFANDSOPH design.com. But honestly, probably Instagram. So my Instagram handle is Cliff, CLIFFAND, and Soph, SOPH design. And just there, like I try to post a lot, not as much as I should. And you could always just send me a direct message, and then we could start to collaborate on a bag.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. This was so great chatting with you and learning more about your company.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to the Preppy Podcast. I hope this put a little prep in your step for the day. Please subscribe, rate, and review on wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow along with @the Preppy Podcast on social media.